So Dylan is 26. We first noticed there was an issue when it was time to start talking. He really didn't. He started services. I mean, we started him in occupational therapy and speech therapy probably around 2-ish. And but he didn't have a diagnosis for quite a bit after that. We had a neighbor with a child with autism who banged his head against the wall, and that's what I thought autism was. So I didn't know enough about it. But my son did do some very sort of stereotypical things. One of them is called like looking through people, where they look at you but they're not. Anyway, that's what they call it, looking through you. He totally did that. So when I had a conversation with our pediatrician, I said, you know, I really need to know all the things this could be, because clearly he's not typical, and I just, you know, I'm reading things and nothing seemed to fit in, you know, nothing's quite what, you know, a good fit. And then I started reading about autism and I was like, oh, this is it. So then once we got the official diagnosis, we got him on DSPD's waiting list. I was very worried that we would look back and feel like we hadn't done everything we could, and then we would have that burden. Well, obviously the financial burden of paying for everything ourselves was horrific. I had to borrow money from my father, who was really kind about it. Then, you know, my husband has a good job and I had a good job, but I had to reduce my work hours because I had to manage all of that. So it was a really hard time. And I mean, he was still having therapy. We were paying for all that ourselves. And he never really could tolerate school. So he went to a public school, but he never could do a full school day because he just couldn't tolerate it. So we ended up, you know, I was running a small business of hiring people to stay with him, training people to stay with him, and, you know, and then paying them, and, you know, doing all the wages and withholding all that. I did all that. I called one day to see where we were on the waiting list after we had been on the waiting list over 15 years. And the number they gave me was in the thousands. And I started to sob, because I thought, at that point in time, I thought, it's been 15 years. Like, I am never going to get off this waiting list. I am never going to get any help with this. And we're just going to be on our own forever. And, you know, you know, we're a 2-parent family with good jobs. I mean, we were functioning, but the fact that that put me over the edge like that is a clue of how stressed I was. There were more services available to us that I had never crossed my mind. For example, he gets a massage about every other week, but, you know, that's paid for with our DSPD funding. That actually helps keep him calm, and keeping him calm is one of our big things, because he's really, really, you know, he's big. He's big, and he can get very excited, and it can be very bad. And, you know, security gets called and people get excited when he's excited. So we try and keep him calm. That's really one of our major things, is to keep him happy and calm and productive and engaged in something that's meaningful to him. Yeah, I didn't realize, yeah, there are other services. We're about to have a behavioral person come in and help us with some behavioral issues we have, which are, prompt dependency is an issue we're having right now. For example, he, for whatever reason, even though he used to take himself to the bathroom, he does not want to take himself to the bathroom without being told to. So they call that prompt dependency, which is an issue. You know, he needs to just take himself to the bathroom. So anyway, we're having somebody come in that to help us with that, and his DSPD funding is going to cover that. Every now and then they'll pay for a recreation thing that we want to do. So that's a service that we sometimes take advantage of. And then obviously they pay for the care providers that are here when I can't be here. So that is, most of our funding is to cover the care providers when I go to the doctor or go to help with my grandkids or something like that. That waiting list is a haunting thing to me. As a parent who's off it, it's haunting to me to think of all the parents who are still waiting and, you know, don't have the help they need.